All right, welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're getting right into our fourth segment of the night, talking about the Edmonton Oilers, their path to the final, as we just got finished talking about the Florida Panthers and how they ended up here, talking about their road to the Cup. It was, of course, disposing of the Dallas Stars in 6 games. Very great series that was by the Edmonton Oilers. They were very great in 5-on-5, which hasn't really been their MO up to this point, but they get it done 5-on-5. Before that, in the second round, it was the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 series win. This was a really weird series as it was just back and forth. It goes Vancouver, Edmonton, Vancouver, Edmonton, Vancouver, Edmonton, but they broke that in Game 7, won that one 3-2 after a 5-1 Game 6 win. Vancouver goes on to win that Game 5. I believe that was on the road as well. They won that Game 5. And it didn't matter. The Edmonton Oilers won the next 2 games with a 5-1 win, 3-2 win, and it is the Edmonton Oilers that take that series in 7. And before that, they absolutely disposed of the LA Kings. I mean, this series wasn't even close. Looking at the games, it was a 7-4 win by the Oilers, 5-4 OT win by the Kings, 1-1. Okay, maybe it's close. 6-1 Edmonton, 1-0 Edmonton, 4-3 Edmonton. They absolutely disposed of the LA Kings for the 3rd year in a row in the first round. Disappointing once again by the LA Kings, but what are you going to do about it? So they get to the Cup playing one more game. Playing only one more game than the Florida Panthers. Their record is 12-6, opposed to the Florida Panthers 12-5. But that just means the better stats for their skaters, of course. But yeah, the Edmonton Oilers have been dominant, just like the Florida Panthers have been. That Vancouver Canucks series was a great one between them and the Edmonton Oilers. It showed a lot with Edmonton. I didn't think that they could do it 5-on-5, and they proved at the end of that series that they could. That was, midway through that series, they were at a 45% power play percentage, and that's what really carried their offense. But they didn't get a power play goal for like 5 games straight through the Dallas Stars series, and it didn't matter. The Edmonton Oilers were fantastic in both of the series. So, yeah, they have a great playoff run. In the regular season, they were fantastic this year. I mean, we talked about Sam Reinhart having a career year with, 57 goals and 94 points? Connor McDavid had 100 assists and 132 points. I'm so impressed every time I look at this that he had 100 assists because, I mean, Leon Draisaitl only 41 goals, and of course he's not on the same line as McDavid for most of the time, both of them being centers. You only see them on the ice when it is the power play. He gives Zach Hyman 54 goals. Look at how many of Zach Hyman's goals were not assisted by Connor McDavid. It's in the single digits. That's how insane this pairing, this link up was all year. McDavid just put the puck right on Hyman's stick as he was far side on any goalkeeper that they played. Sorry, there's a fly right there. On any goalkeeper that they played, and it just it worked to perfection. I mean, those two played lights out, and I mean their entire team played very well offensively. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets 67 points in 80 games with 49 assists. Once again, I said Leon Draisaitl 41 goals. He eclipsed the century mark in points in the season, 106. McDavid only playing 76 games gets 132. He's up for the Hart Memorial Trophy, and he definitely could win it. Of course, that is the MVP of the regular season. For those of you that don't know, he definitely, if they win this series, he is the likely candidate for Conn Smythe as well. I mean, this is his team. Sorry. This is his team, and we're seeing him dominate. And this is Connor McDavid in the prime, in his prime. He's been fantastic all year. Darnell Nurse was probably their most disappointing player throughout the regular season. The guy makes $9.25 million, only 32 points and a +3. What's he good for? Sorry. Not really. I mean, he's pretty great. He was, in the Dallas Stars Game 6, that was the first time I looked at him and was like, whoa, that's a good hockey player. And Darnell Nurse, he had like 6 hits in the in the opening period. He was great in that game, but that was the first time I really looked at him and was impressed. Down the board, I mean, Corey Perry in 54 games, only 22 points. Sam Carrick, 16 points in 77 games. Their depth does not score a lot. Connor Brown, Matthias Janmark, who have turned provider in the postseason. Those guys have been playing pretty well, but not getting it done really in the regular season. Matthias Ekholm was great this year, 45 points in 79 games. Of course, Evan Bouchard was amazing, over a point per game for him, 82 points in 81 games. So for this Edmonton Oilers team, it was fantastic production out of Connor McDavid, 132 points. I mean, that's already 40 points more than anybody on the Florida Panthers. So already you have that production. And I mean, of course, he wills his team to victory once again in the playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, it's Connor McDavid leading the way. All skaters in the NHL. 4 points, 31 in 18 games. What are we doing here? This guy's silly. Leon Draisaitl, 28 points in 18 games. What are we doing? This guy's silly. He's at an assist per game. Connor McDavid, almost 2 points per game. Evan Bouchard, 27 points in 18 games as a defenseman, a plus 14. He's been lights out this postseason. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 20 points in 18 games. He's the fourth best skater in the postseason. Zach Hyman, tied for sixth, I believe, in points among skaters with 18. He has 14 goals. That does lead the way in all skaters in this postseason. Evander Kane, 8 points in 18. It's a big fall-off, but Matthias Ekholm gets 7 points in 18. That's more production than you saw in the regular season. It's Warren Fogle has been bad. Darnell Nurse, a minus 13 in this postseason. Anyways, moving on, Ryan McLeod has been pretty bad in the postseason, only 1 point in 17 games played. I throw so much shade at Darnell Nurse. He deserves it. That guy is making $9.25 million per year. He can take some ridicule from me. 3 points and a minus 13 in 18 games that's tough for your number one defenseman. But Evan Bouchard has been great. That guy makes $5 million less than Darnell Nurse a year. I'm allowed to give crap to Darnell Nurse. It's been the Oilers' top five, really first line power play that's getting this done. It's McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman. Their power play's been at an insane rate, and it's because of those five players. When you get all five of them on the ice at the same time, good things happen, and you're seeing that. When it comes to the regular season, that's what I was gonna say. The Edmonton Oilers were the 9th best team in the regular season, 104 points. They were 49, 27, and 6. That is a points percentage of 634. They had the 4th best goals for per game at 3.56 goals for per game, 292 goals for overall. And goals against per game, they were actually pretty good defensively. They were number 10th in the league. Goals against per game, 288. Points differential was pretty great for them. Their power play percentage was 4th best in the league. We talked about those guys being on the ice together. It's 26.3%. It's ridiculous. Their penalty kill, though, was pretty impressive as well. Operating as the... it was actually pretty bad. Never mind. 79.5% on the power play. The 20th best penalty kill in the league. So it wasn't that great, actually. But, offensively wise, they were fantastic. You look at their roster, and that is kind of duh. But it is very impressive what they're able to do offensively. When it comes down to the Edmonton Oilers, they definitely match up with the Florida Panthers very well. We talked about how great Florida Panthers were defensively, second best team defensively in the NHL, while the Edmonton Oilers are the 4th best team offensively. So these teams match up so well. I think on the other end, it's around 10th for each of them. For goals for per game for the Florida Panthers, it's 11th, and goals against per game for the Edmonton Oilers, it's Oh, that was the other way. For the Edmonton Oilers, it's 10th for goals against per game. I was looking at goals against per game, and I accidentally inserted it by the wrong way, and it was the Columbus Blue Jackets as number one. They gave up a lot of goals this year, 363. Yeah, that's why they were one of the worst teams in the NHL. Anyways, we're talking about these two teams in the Cup. But yeah, the Edmonton Oilers are a fantastic team offensively, and you really see how they got to this point. They deserve, at least so, are in the Stanley Cup Final. When I come back from my fourth and final break of the night, we're going to be talking about the Oilers and the Panthers, how they match up directly against each other, who are the keys to the series for each player, but I won't give you guys my picks and predictions for this series. I will be doing that later in the week, as we do have 3 days until Saturday, the first game of this series, to talk about this series. So I'll give you guys those on Friday, but we're just going to be talking about the preview of the series in our fifth segment.